Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
And here we go.
This is the real Brad Bell here. I am just saying how over the moon excited I am for Infinity War. I hope this is going to be the precursor to a mini podcast on the way home from the theater between myself and great friend of the show, Evan Truelove. So I'm really looking forward to this tonight. I was supposed to go see Infinity War Thursday, April 26th, but that didn't happen because that was the day my baby girl, Harper Jane Bell, was born. And as epic as I'm sure Infinity War is going to be, nothing can top that. So the plan is here to kind of tell you how hyped up I am going in, maybe give you some predictions. Maybe I'm completely wrong, I don't know. Obviously, I probably haven't been excited for a movie this much since, I guess, The Dark Knight or Dark Knight Rises. Civil War I was pretty excited for. I don't know if I've ever been as excited or just anticipating the potential twists and turns of a movie than I am this right here. So it should be a lot of fun tonight. So after Evan and I have our conversation on the way home, I mean, it'll probably be like a little 10-minute mini podcast. Of course, you can expect later on, we're going to return at the end of May. I know we've had some content. We'll continue to have new content, but live content will return at the end of May on the Confirmed Epic podcast. And that's when you'll get Jerry and I's full-blown Infinity War review. But I could not touch base with you guys between now and the end of May. So I'm drinking my Starbucks double shot energy right now. Hopefully it doesn't tear my stomach up, but to get me ready to go see Thanos kick some ass. So I have not been spoiled. I've stayed off of Twitter. I've stayed off of Facebook. I've stayed off of sites like Comic Book Resources. It's been very hard to do, because this, as you know, is the biggest movie of all time, beating Force Awakens, making $650 million. So that's been hard. And the only sad thing about this, my wife Abby can't go because she's got to stay at home with our newborn daughter. That's more important than any movie, but still, I feel for her. Let's do some predictions. My prediction as far as characters who will die going in, I'm going to predict Loki will die. I'm going to predict that Nebula will die. I'm going to predict that Drax will die. I'm going to predict that Thor will die. I've heard he has the biggest arc. I hadn't have it spoiled for me. I'm just predicting it. And I think that's it. I think that will be the only 4 characters that die. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Let's see. My other predictions, I have not looked at any spoilers. I think it's Shuri in that Hulkbuster armor. Maybe it's Bruce Banner because he can't transform anymore, but we see him as the Hulk in the trailer, so I don't know about that. Let's see. I think Doctor Strange will be tortured and, give up the Eye of Agamotto. MVP characters, I guess Thanos and Thor will be it. That's just going off of what I've heard people say. I'm going to predict that I'm going to end up giving this movie like a grade or a grade and a half, because it is a lot. When it's too much, kind of like The Dark Knight Rises, it's tough to say that those type of movies are epic. But if anybody can do it, it's Marvel. Let's see, holy just shit moments that could happen. Obviously, the biggest holy shit moment for me would be, as big of a fan as I am, if somehow, some way, we see any of the Fantastic Four, in particular Reed Richards, anything about the Baxter Building, that would shock me. Some other things that I think will happen that'll be less shocking, I expect in a post-credit scene or at the end, Brie Larson's Captain Marvel to show up, so maybe that's a surprise. Maybe Adam Warlock shows up. I'm expecting, because I talked to my friend Joe Cameron, who's been on this show before. Excuse me, getting a sip of that energy shot. And he told me this ends on a cliffhanger. It definitely feels like a part 1 and 2. But if you've read the comics, which I have read Marvel Comics consistently, I'm a monthly reader of individual issues now. I've read them consistently since 03 House of M. He said that you'll know where it's going. So I'm going to guess that it leads us toward either a House of M, but I'm going to guess Secret Invasion type storyline going into something with the Skrulls going into part 2 or Avengers 4. So that's my prediction, guys. We'll see how I feel after the movie. Hopefully it's confirmed epic. Thank God I haven't been spoiled to this point. Movie's at 6:30. It's 4:52 now, so I think I can make it. Anyway, we'll talk with you after the movie.
The entire time I knew him, he only ever had one goal. To wipe out half the universe. If he gets all the Infinity Stones, he can do it with the snap of his fingers. Just like that.
Tell me his name again.
Thanos.
We got one advantage. He's coming to us. We have what Thanos wants, so that's what we'll use.
Let's talk about this plan of yours. I think it's good, except it sucks. So let me do the plan, and that way it might be really good.
Wow.
The end is near. When I'm done, half of humanity will still exist. Perfectly balanced. As all things should be. I hope they remember you.
I'm Peter, by the way.
Doctor Strange.
Oh, you're using your made-up names. Then I am Spider-Man.
We just got out of Infinity War. Real Brad Bell, Evan Truelove. I guess I shouldn't say his last name, probably.
Yeah,
I'll just say Evan.
that's true.
So, touching base with you on Infinity War. You know, we're taking a month off. We've had these canned episodes because I just had my first kid. Man, we're going to spoil the shit out of this, so just get ready here. Evan, Thanos is one of the best villains in any, like, geek property that I've seen in a long time, man.
I completely agree. I think you put him up there with Darth Vader. You put him up there with the Joker.
That's hard to say. Can you believe that? Like, he lived up to the hype. Like you said, they built this movie up for how long?
10 years? 6 years?
6 years. Yes. This has been the 10 year. By the way, I liked when the Marvel Studios thing came on and how it did the 10 there. That was cool. But it almost leaves you kind of like, this is your second time seeing it, right?
Yes.
It almost leaves you like speechless in a way. I mean, there were parts in this movie when I was like literally shaking. This puts you through the ringer, and half the Marvel universe is, I know they're not probably like dead, but I guess for a year you can kind of assume they're dead.
Absolutely, absolutely. I do think it's a big point that, like, we have our original Avengers still alive right now. That everyone that has passed away or dead now or out of existence is people that have been introduced later in the Marvel universe. So that, you know, it makes me think that Avengers 4 is going to be a swan song for these individuals, and then that's it.
Yeah, definitely. You hit the nail on the head there. I think that's going to be, they're going to go out with a bang, you know, like you said, their swan song. And boy, I tell you, I'm just going to jump all around here because we don't have but a couple minutes about it. We're doing this in the car after the movie. It's like a 10-minute ride, if that, to my house. I'll drive really slow, and this is really dangerous. So anyway, but the part where Spider-Man evaporates at the end and Tony Stark is holding him, oh my God, that's like heartbreaking, gut-wrenching moment, man, because Stark brought him into this. And it's an emotional gut punch with an Infinity Gauntlet. That's the best way I can describe this movie. It's a dark movie. Like, anybody that ever questioned whether a Marvel movie can be dark or have stakes, I know a lot of times DC gets criticized for being too dark with the DCEU, but Marvel's like, are there any stakes? Can anybody die? The answer is yes and yes. What character do you think is like the MVP of the movie?
I think it's a two-parter. I think
besides Thanos, because this is a Thanos movie. It's not Thanos' origin story, although you do get a lot of flashbacks with Thanos. But you're following him and the Black Order around from the get-go. So out of like the characters that we know and love, the heroes, who would you say is the MVP?
Two people. First one, Thor. I've had like issues with Thor like in his previous films, but ever since Ragnarok on, he's maybe becoming my favorite Avenger. He is, you know, I mean, he's probably like, but he is like the most powerful Avenger still alive right now. Second, Doctor Strange. Like, you see a glimpse of how like powerful Doctor Strange is in like his standalone film. In this one though, I mean, he's going toe to toe with Thanos.
I know. I turned to Evan, I was like, they're completely screwed without Dr. Stephen Strange. Let me ask you this. So the part that had me on the edge of my seat more than any other was when they were on Titan and you had Iron Man going just toe to toe with Thanos in this Mark 50 armor, which is like the bleeding edge armor from the comic books, except it comes out of his chest piece instead of his skin. But anyway, and it looked like Tony Stark was dead, man. It really did. And why do you think Doctor Strange gave him the time gem to allow Tony Stark to live? Like, what purpose? I know it will probably make sense in Avengers 4, but what purpose do you think that is?
Well, he said, Doctor Strange, when he did his whole time stone thing, he said he saw the 14,605 scenarios and they only survived one. They only won in one scenario. This is the scenario where they win. So they have to like lose everyone to win. It's a theory, but I feel like they have to lose everyone.
Or is it that Tony Stark is instrumental in the one scenario, even though he's just a human amongst gods like he has been for the 10 years?
Well, he has the face of the MCU.
He is, man. Like, I don't know if there's any actor in Hollywood that's more synonymous with a character than he is with Iron Man. Like, I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. He's played him so many times now. But man, the stuff with Gamora was really well done. And here's the thing. A lot of characters die, but it only feels like a handful of them, air quotes here, really die. So at the end, I don't want to get too much into just explaining the plot here, but Thanos gets the last Infinity Gem and you have like a crap ton of people evaporate. But earlier in the film, you have Loki choked out by Thanos.
I think he's dead for real.
He's dead.
He's never coming back.
Yeah, they can't bring him back again. I love Tom Hiddleston as Loki, but that's run his course. Then he kills Gamora. To get the, what gem was that? The Soul Stone. Okay. And then Heimdall is killed at the beginning, Idris Elba. Anybody else big he like, quote unquote, really killed?
Nothing major.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the ones that were really killed that didn't evaporate.
Yeah. What was your favorite part's the fight on Titan?
Absolutely, that's my favorite part. I love seeing them all work together.
Yeah, their power sets just so intertwined, even though these characters have never really fought together.
I love the wide shot where they're all like pulling Thanos in different directions. That's like my favorite shot of, I don't know if it's my favorite shot of the film, but it's something that sticks out of my mind, is them all like pulling him in different directions, trying to hold him down.
Here's a nitpick with this movie though. Like, sometimes I know Peter Quill, Star-Lord, loses his cool because Gamora's dead, but why on God's green earth would he punch him in the face at that point? I mean, that made no... I know people act irrationally when their loved ones are in danger or have been killed, but did that make any damn sense to you?
That's like, you know, if you look at it, Peter Quill's responsible for like the death of half of the universe.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally is responsible.
Including himself.
Yes.
Yeah, so like, that just made no sense to me. I mean, what would you rate this movie out of 5? I would say I'd give it a grade, so 4 out of 5. Is that kind of where you're at?
I give it 4 out of 5. I don't think it's a perfect film. I do have some issues with it.
Like, what are some of the issues you have? Because you've seen it twice. I'm just kind of taking it all in. So since you've seen it twice, like, what are some of the issues you have?
I don't think you can judge this as a standalone film. Like, you really can't, because if you go into this movie and never seen anything else, you will hate it. It's a culmination of everything that's came before. You can't really judge it in traditional like movie sense. I do have problems with the pacing. Like, there's no time to really breathe in the movie. Once it gets started, it's 2 hours and 36 minutes long. It's just non-stop. You don't really get a chance to breathe until the credits roll.
My favorite quote of the movie was the guy behind us when they're on Titan and Thanos just pulling the moon down. I was like, he done pulled the moon down on their ass. I'm about lost it at that part, but the post-credit scene's pretty cool. You get Nick Fury, you get Maria Hill. They're dissolving. It almost looks like the Rapture. It's like biblical what's going on with Thanos here. So like they're dissolving, and then the call is made. You see the kind of the Captain Marvel like logo pop up, and it's like, here's what I'm worried about, Evan. And I know that I just came out of it. I'm already worrying about Avengers 4, and no, I'm not having a baby between now and then. I'm gonna be there at midnight or the Thursday show or whatever, okay? Is that gonna be like Deus Ex Machina, get out of jail free card here? Is that what she's gonna be? Because if so, does that not kind of undermine everything we just saw?
I hope we don't have like a Superman and Justice League moment with her. But she just comes in and beats the teetotal crap out of Thanos. I don't think it'll be that.
She's not that, like, she's powerful in the comics, but she's not like, and I know this is the MCU, they borrow from the comics, they intertwine things, like Spider-Man's suit here with Civil War in the comics, it's Infinity War, but like, Thor and Scarlet Witch and all those are way more powerful than her. I just don't understand. Maybe this is going to be like an uber powerful version.
Yeah, I think I do wonder what happens with the Infinity Gauntlet, because if you look at it there at the end, it looks like it's destroyed in a way, or it's burnt to a crisp there after he snaps his fingers and he comes back.
Is it like a one-off? Like he used it to do what he wanted to do? That makes no sense. Like, why would that be the case?
I'm not entirely sure. Who knows? Who knows?
That seems a little flawed there. I mean, like, it's not a perfect movie, but it's I mean, the part, I may have said this already, I apologize if I'm repeating myself, but the part where Thanos is like legit about to kill Iron Man, Tony Stark, I was literally like shaking, Evan. And that's a fictional character, but like that's how good of a job like Kevin Feige and Marvel and all them at Disney have done of getting us to buy into these characters. It's going to be such a long wait until next May.
One scene I did love, I love the opening scene, but I love how like the Hulk just comes out and Thanos just destroys him, embarrasses him. And it makes you know, like at the beginning, Thanos, he's for real. There's no getting around like how powerful he is. I do feel like that played a role in that we don't see the Hulk later on. He's embarrassed to come out.
Yeah.
We'll see the Hulk in Avengers 4, obviously.
For sure.
But I do feel that the reason that we didn't see the Hulk after that, the misleading trailer showing him in Wakanda, is because he was embarrassed in a way.
Do you think Avengers 4 will take place like climactically on Earth, kind of like Avengers did, like to kind of come full circle? Or do you think it will be on Titan or wherever Thanos ends up being at?
Well, we don't know what planet he's on at the end of the film.
No, it's bliss. Like, it's like heaven, pretty much.
It's not Titan.
No.
That's for sure. I feel like it'll end on Earth. I mean,
I think it should. I don't know if I want to see him in New York again, but in a lot of ways that would make sense. But we're pulling into the driveway now. Before we end, is there anything else you want to say about this movie? I know we rushed this. We're going to do a whole podcast on this at the end of the month, but
I enjoyed it a lot more. You know, I feel like the third act is by far the best part of the movie. Like, initially in the middle, I was kind of like iffy. I was like, this is too much.
Yeah.
But then once they get to Wakanda, they turn it on, you start seeing the emotional states with like Scarlet Witch, you know.
Boy, the scene where Cap catches Proxima Midnight's like staff. I tell you, the Black Order is a big thing in Marvel Comics, and they nailed them completely. Like Clovis Grave, Ebony Maw, who ends up biting the dust, like Proxima Midnight. All these were freaking awesome. So
they all bite the dust.
Yeah, they all did, didn't they?
Yeah, they all bit the dust.
There's this other one that he has. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was the only Black Order that wasn't in this. So I want to say something else, but it's late. I'm sleep deprived. What were you gonna say, Evan? It sounded like you was about to make kind of like a closing point here.
I do feel like Captain Marvel's gonna play a huge role in the next film.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like she may be one. Like, I don't know. I feel like an Avenger is going to wield the Infinity Gauntlet. I think that's how it's going to end.
I think it'll be Cap. Cap has wielded it. He's the only one of the Avengers who has, as of now. I think Black Panther did, but like he's dissolved. So I think it will be Cap, and I think probably Cap and Iron Man bite the dust in Avengers 4.
I don't know if Iron Man bites the dust. I was thinking about this. I feel like he may like ride off into the sunset.
I hope
like
so,
Pepper Potts makes him do it.
God, I hope so. I hope so.
Mainly because if they get to the point like 10, 15 years down the road, the MCU starts to lag, their films start to lag, make less of the box office, they can bring back an elderly Tony Stark.
Just put him in CG.
There you go, bring him back elderly to make some money.
All right, and this movie made all the money, biggest opening of all time. That's going to do it for this mini edition of the Confirmed Epic podcast. I say great. Evan says great. We are out.
That's all I have to say about that.
This has been a production of the GWW Radio Network. Please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. Also, check out Geeks Worldwide at thegww.com for all the latest news, reviews, and opinions on video games, comics, movies, TV, cosplay, and more. Geeks, assemble!